Open the chat. How's everyone doing today? Let's see. Few minutes late. Mr. Cole's going to call me out. Oh, everyone's in the chat. Yeah, where is he? Where is he? Sorry, I had a little, I don't know. Things weren't working properly. Okay. My desk didn't want to go up. So, anyway, we're up now. Sound and video's fine. Sweet. Mr. Miller. How's it going, Brad? Thanks for popping in. Sweet. Doug. Obviously, Josh. Mr. Powers in the house. Let me up my screen brightness here because these lights are blinding me. Okay. Lots and lots of stuff to talking about today. Actually, here, I think I need to adjust my little camera mount a little bit. I think it's loosened a little bit over the years. And yeah, I used to be taller. Now I got to go down. Okay. We'll fix it later. Yeah, lots of, I have been working so hard past few weeks. I know I went to Disneyland and I made up for it because it's been 1, 2 a.m. every night since then, even on weekends. So to get this beta out now, I was kind of hoping to get it released before this. It is done. It is, unless I find some bugs while we're here today during the live stream, which is probable, right? I will definitely ship it right after this. Okay. It is 100% done. And yeah, it is going to be the last big release for the betas. Okay. Yeah, there is no more new features until after release. Okay. So, and it's a big one. Pound for pound, this is the biggest beta ever. Okay. Normally the betas have 1 or 2 new features, right? Wow. I didn't even count. This has a lot of new stuff, like a lot. I can't like, oh, there, like trying to focus on my face. Oh yeah, there we go. So anyway, before I dive into beta though, I wanted to, talk about, there's obviously, during the live streams, we have been working on whatever is new, right? And so I just go directly into the deep end. Now, I know I did that beginners series, which was really good, a really great video. If you haven't watched Total CMS 3 for beginners, I did it last month or maybe 6 weeks ago. Okay, really, really good live stream. Check that out. I'm gonna start maybe a little bit ahead of where that one started today. But I just want to build a simple site. I know a lot of times we dive into all these super complex, awesome features that Total CMS 3 can do. And some people are just like, I just want to build a blog, right? So, so today what we're going to do is, yeah, I'm going to build a blog. And I kind of hoped I was actually going to pre-do it, at least run through it initially, and then, redo it again during the live stream just to make sure I had the workflow done. I didn't have time to do that because I was fixing bugs up until like literally a half hour ago. So, yeah, we're going to do it live. And yeah, that's never hurt me before, right? So anyway, let's go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and I'll start sharing my screen and we'll show you what we got going on here. Okay. Let's see. So this is I did create a project file. Okay. Actually, that's why I was a few minutes late. I was wrapping up, creating this project file. And this project file is just a primer. Okay. There's zero content. It just has some pages. Okay. It doesn't even use foundation. Okay. So I'm not even going to throw in the foundation, thing today. We're just using a theme. Okay. I'm not going to try to build any sort of website, shell or whatnot. We're just going to use a theme. Actually, here I noticed here this blog post one. Here, don't show that navigation. There we go. So we have a homepage, a blog, about us, and a contact page. Okay. Pretty simple. I'm not even sure if we're going to really fill out all these pages. I just wanted to have something on here. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and build a blog. I guess to start off, actually, I forgot to add a page. Let's go ahead and add an admin page. And we're just going to plop down there. And we're going to add an admin page. And I would say I am publishing this locally. It's running on a local web server that I have on my Mac. I've really enjoyed that, actually. Just having everything local. It publishes super quick. Everything serves up locally, whether or not you want to use MAMP or whatever. I have something that I've built for myself that just runs via terminal. But yeah, I think it's awesome. I kind of flip-flop for years, mostly because, features of MAMP kind of piss me off a little bit here and there. So I just built my own. But yeah, use MAMP or whatever else is out there. There's a bunch of other similar tools out there. All right, but let's just go ahead and create this. We're going to do /admin. Screen super bright. Okay, there we go. All right. And to start off, so we're going to build out the admin area. And actually, you know what? Just for fun. All right. What I'm going to do is actually for the admin page specifically. Okay. I don't want the whole theme shell. Okay. I want just the admin portal. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go into there. I don't want to use the master style. Okay. And I'm going to use the foundation theme. Okay. But just because I don't want anything, it's just a blank theme. Okay. And yeah, we're not going to use the foundation stacks at all. Just going to set it to foundation. The theme is free download, so go ahead and download that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to add in CMS core, and we're going to add in the admin stack, admin embed. Boom. Okay. Now for live, I'll be honest, for live sites, I'm not a fan of the admin embed, but for working within RapidWeaver and preview, admin embed is really awesome. Okay. So there we go. That's all we need. Let's go ahead and preview. And voila, we have Total CMS 3 running inside of RapidWeaver, 100% independent. Okay. It's all on its own. It doesn't communicate with any server. It's all encapsulated within. Now, for those that are new or existing, you notice that we have a nice new homepage. We'll dive into that a little bit later, because right now we're working on setting up a new blog. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go into utils and we're going to go into project setup. I should probably have some sort of thing on the dashboard for project setup, actually, like to recognize if you don't have anything. Okay. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up the default collections. Okay. Pretty simple. I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, set up default collections, and voila. Okay. So that's all done. And we're going to go into here, and we'll also notice that I have a whole bunch of default collections now. Sweet. And we're going to go into blog. Okay. And if I go into blog, what we're going to do is I'm just going to create some dummy posts. You can go ahead and click on new post. Okay. And you can create your own posts if you want, but we just want to get up and running really quick. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the factory. By the way, there is a bug within preview, only within preview, that this little popover doesn't hide. I forgot about that. I should add that to my list. Okay. And what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and create, let's create 10 blog posts. Okay. And we're just gonna say generate, and it's gonna generate 10 blog posts. Done. Okay. So we're gonna go back to our blog, and voila, I have 10 fake blog posts. Pretty cool, right? Okay. That's pretty much it for now. Okay. So inside the admin area, that's all we need. Okay. I'm gonna go into my blog page now. Okay. Now, one thing we have to do with every single setup, okay, is we need to have CMS core on every page that we want to use Total CMS. So that is a given. We have to have CMS core on there. Okay. And next up is, let's go down to our content stacks here. And you'll notice that there is a stack here for blog grid. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag that onto the page. And let's go ahead and look at the settings. The settings, by default, it uses the default blog collection, okay, which is what we're using. And yeah, let's just say I'm good with the default layout. I think this looks kind of nice. Let's go ahead and preview. And voila, I have a blog already, okay? This is what the layout will look like, okay? Pretty awesome stuff. Now, let's go ahead and set up the blog post page, because if I click on this right now, it doesn't take me to the blog post page, but and this is showing all the dummy data that I entered into the CMS that I use the CMS to artificially create for me, so it can help me, build stuff out and preview and whatnot. Okay, so let's go to the blog post page, and now this actually on my to-do list. Okay, I should have had that for today. There should be I want to create a blog post stack so that you could just drag out a blog post stack on the page. And yeah, you just have like a default blog post layout just to make it super easy. Okay. But for today, we don't have that. Okay. So let's just go ahead and we got to do it kind of manually, but it's not too hard. So first off, we need to load. So right now we're going to be displaying a specific blog post, right? Because this is our blog post page. So I'm going to go ahead and we have to add a object loader to the page. Okay, so we're going to, here we go. There's an object loader. We're going to add that to the page. Oh, and don't forget, we need our CMS core on every page. Okay. So an object loader, what this is going to do is it's going to load in the blog post that we are requesting. Okay. So the collection here is going to be blog, and the object ID, I don't know what that is. I don't know what the blog post is. So what we're going to say is load from URL. Okay. So essentially what that's going to do is when we click on the blog post, the blog post ID, okay, is going to be in the URL, and this is going to automatically fetch it for us. Pretty nice. And that's it. Variable name, let's just call it a post. Okay. So for all intents and purposes, we're done. Okay. So now I'm going to load in the blog, and then to access all of my data, I just need to go ahead and use the post variable. Okay. So let's go ahead and start off. Let's go ahead and so we're going to use my starter pack just so we're staying clean here. We're going to go ahead and add a header. Okay. And we'll add and let's add an H1 to or H3 or H1. Yeah. H1. Okay. And then we're going to add in post. The macro syntax from here is 2 curly braces, and we're going to do post.title. Voila. Right. So I'm going to have the post.title, and let's go ahead and let's preview. Why not? So we can see post.title. Now, if you look, hey, this is kind of interesting. Like, how is it loading something? What's kind of cool is Total CMS within preview. Since I have data into preview, it'll randomly pick one for us, which is pretty nice. So this object loader randomly for preview will randomly pick something and load it when you define load from URL. Pretty cool little feature. Okay. So let's say we have our blog post. Below that, we want maybe our we're going to Total CMS stacks. We're going to do, let's do, maybe we want an image above our title, actually. Probably a good idea, right? So we're going to do an image, okay? And let's say I want the image to be, so we're going to load in the object ID, okay, is going to be post.id, okay? And we're going to load this from the blog collection, and the property is going to be image. Now I'm going to go over how I know what all these properties are. Okay, actually, let's dive into that now. Here I did post.title, and here I knew that I needed to load an image. How did I know that? Okay, so if we go back to our admin, one thing that's important with Total CMS is you have to know your data. Okay, Total CMS manages all your data, and so in order for you to display that data, you have to know what it is. Okay, so if we go into our blog, okay, so this is, again, we saw this earlier. This is all my blog posts. Okay, if I go ahead and click on here and say edit schema, oops, interesting. There's an issue in preview with that. Preview really doesn't like those, does it? We're going to go into blog here. So first I went into schemas and then blog. Okay, because this is what defines what a blog is. And here's all the fields that we have access to, okay, for a blog. So we see that I have whether or not something is draft or featured, if it's what's the ID, has a title, a date, an author, a summary, a media, content. If you're familiar with Total CMS 1, a lot of these, all the same fields, okay? Categories, tags, image, gallery, updated, and created, okay? So let's go ahead and let's go back to our blog post, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and load in this image, and let's do a width of like, let's do like 1920 by 700, something like that. Okay. And what's kind of cool is I'm not going to dive into all the image stuff, right? The image logic within Total CMS is really cool. You can dynamically resize images. And what I can do is I can even say, I want to make sure that this is a JPEG. And then I want to make sure I crop. Okay. So basically, I can now ensure that this image, no matter what size I added to the blog post, is going to be 1920 by 700. Pretty cool, right? And let's do fill. Yeah, there we go. Let's preview that. Oh, wow. Oh, aha. One thing that is important here, post.id here. Remember, we're loading this from a variable, right? So I'm inside here. So for the object ID, I just need to say plop. I just need to tell, hey, the image stack, hey, this is I'm using a variable right here. Okay. So little oopsie there. Oh, that didn't work out good. Here, let's just do contain. Oops, something's going on with my image scaling here. Oh, interesting. So one of the new features I added was some of these scaling issues, some of these scaling things, and I might have messed those up. Interesting. Interesting. What's going on here? Man, something so simple that was throwing me up here. It's giving me a 1920 by 1080 image, which is what I requested. Oh, interesting. It could be an issue with I get spoiled with Foundation sometimes. Oh, look at that. I get spoiled with some of the default styles that I do in Foundation. And yeah, the theme doesn't auto scale images. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Wow. Okay, let me just go ahead and I'm just gonna add in a CSS in here. I'm just gonna do image just for fun. Actually, you know what we're gonna do is that's fine. Image. We're gonna do width 100%, height auto. There we go. Crazy. Yeah, I spoil myself with the Foundation. That's crazy. Okay, let's do that. Let's do this again. So now that I do 1900 by that, and if I say, if I want to crop, right, there we go. So now I'm going to have that aspect ratio image. It auto crops. There we go. All right. I guess that works too. Perfect. Okay. Interesting. Might be something I have to add into the stacks just in case to prevent that from happening in the future. But most modern themes are going to have those particular styles. So, but anyway, all right, that was fun. Now what we want below the title, let's just go ahead and add in our content. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in. Now the content contains HTML. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually, let's go ahead and use the content stacks from Total CMS. And we're going to bring in some style text, okay? Because the content from a blog post is style text. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to load in a post.id, okay? Actually, well, there's two ways to do this. Actually, here, I'm going to show you how I would potentially do it. Okay, we could do it that way, but I would go ahead and say I'm just going to chuck in a HTML stack on the page. And then I'm just going to put in post.content. Okay. And that's how I would do it. All right. So let's go ahead and preview that. And now I have my image, my title, and my blog post content. Okay. And for fun, let's go ahead and maybe below the content, let's go ahead and add a gallery. Okay. Because this blog post has a gallery. So for that, it definitely is easier just to use the stacks. So we're going to load in gallery, this gallery right here. Bloop. And so in here, we're going to use, again, post.id is the ID of our blog post. And that is a variable. We're going to go ahead and we're going to say it's coming from our blog and is the gallery. Okay. And let's just leave all the defaults, just to see how easy that is. Okay. So there we go. I have my blog image, my title, my content, and my gallery. And if I click on the gallery, it loads. Okay. I mean, this is pretty painless. Hopefully, I should have the chat open so I can see. Right. I don't think I missed any questions. So yeah, there we go. I mean, there's all kinds of other fields that we can add, right? Depending on what we want. But just, I mean, this is a very simple, layout here, just to quickly go ahead and have our banner image, a title, some content, and loading in our gallery, right? Again, there's a lot of other fields that we can go ahead and add. But I just wanted to show, one important thing is setting up the linking between blog, the blog list page, and the blog post page. Okay. So, and the way we do that is we go into the admin area and we go into collections and we go into blog. So we go into our collections blog and let's go ahead and edit this collection. Okay. So we have to click edit collection. And there's a setting in here for URL setup. And what we're going to do is we're going to put in the path to our blog post page. Okay. So in this case, what we do is just to show you, I'm going to go into this blog. We have to go into the page, and the path to this page that shows the blog post is /blog/post.php. So that's what we need to put inside of our admin area. So we're going to go into here. We're going to go into blog. We're going to edit the collection. And I'm going to put in /blog/post.php. Okay. We do have the ability to have pretty URLs. I'm not going to go over that today. Okay. But we can set up pretty URLs. But that's all we need to do. So let's go ahead and save this. Boop. So now my blog lists know exactly where my blog post pages are. So now if I go into my blog and if I click on this one, This is vision oriented global. So we click on that. Oh, in preview, this always will load a random one. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and publish this now. So we're just going to go file, republish all files. All right. Blog.total. So let's go ahead and go to the admin area. And what we'll notice is, hey, in admin, I've never created an account here. This is totally new. So let's go ahead and create an account. All right, so created an account, signs me in. Let's go ahead and create the default collections again. So we're going to go into here and go into project setup. Just say setup default collections. There we go. I need to add a little progress indicator there. Okay. So now we go into just to create dummy content again. We're going to go into blog, and we're going to go into the factory, and we're going to generate 10 blog posts. Boom. Okay, and that's all done. Let's go back to, well, let's just verify. We go in here. I now have my 10 blog posts. Okay. So now if we go back to the published website, okay, we go to blog. I have all my blog posts here. Pretty cool. I click on one. Oh, we need to set up, need to do all this all over again. So we need to go into here and go into there, and go into blog and go edit collection. And we're going to do /blog/post.php. Okay. And we're going to save this. I have to say that the workflow of having a local server, a lot of times I will just, sometimes it's nice to have data within preview, but yeah, just publishing it locally and then going to my web browser and doing stuff, the workflow is really fast. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's go back to the main page. So go to the blog, click on that, and there we go. Okay, so that now, if we go back to the blog, click on progressive tangible, boom. Okay, so it's all set up. Right. I do think that, it would be nice to have just a drag and drop. Here's a decent blog post layout. You can just drag that on and it's done for you. That'd be nice. Definitely on my to-do list, I'll design something nice that kind of does that. Okay. But as you saw, building out your page here isn't horrible. I did do some of the setup process twice because I set it up within preview, and then I had to do it again on the published site. Okay. So yeah, just a word of caution. But you saw when I did it on the published site, took like 90 seconds. Okay. Yeah, pretty exciting. I think this is a really simple way, an approachable way to build a blog for everybody. Okay. I think it's a very approachable solution for even the novice user. I've tried very hard to definitely make it easier to build a blog with Total CMS 3 compared to Total CMS 1. Okay. And not only that, it's also a lot more powerful. And yes, to get into some of those more powerful advanced features, obviously is a little bit more advanced work, but I did, hopefully this helps you guys out to kind of show you how to build out a very simple blog using Total CMS 3. All right, let me see if there's any questions that maybe I didn't answer or whatnot. It's scaling worked. Yep, yeah, that was the stupid theme. Didn't expect that one. When Joe says it sound like Yoda. Wow, that is very nice. Thank you, Glenn. I'm assuming you click on the gallery image with another link. Wait, I assume that you click on a gallery image which will link to another post, right? No, these gallery images are are saved inside each individual blog post, right? So if we go to our admin area, you'll see that if we go to a blog, right, go to a blog post, every blog post has an image and a gallery. Again, these are just dummy images, okay? But yeah, every post has an image and a gallery, and you can use one or the other or both, like I'm doing here. A lot of times what you'll do is the image, you use that as like your banner image up at the top, okay? And then, your gallery you can use, somewhere else on the page, okay? So yes, you can have an image and a gallery. And just like before, we have titles, draft features, dates, authors, a summary, tags, categories, content, media, which is kind of good for storing maybe a URL to a YouTube video or something like that, right? Some sort of link that you can then use to embed a video on the page. And then extra content if you wanted just that extra area for content, okay? Pretty cool stuff. And obviously the update and created dates, these are dynamic, right? So if I ever create a new blog post, the creation date is automatically set. And if I ever update a blog post, that date is already dynamically set whenever I save updates to a blog post. So pretty cool stuff. Can you do a related blog post area? Yes, you can. You can do a related blog post. I actually have an example of that I think it's in this file. On a blog post page, yes, further down here, I have a grid that I load in related blog posts. Okay. So yeah, that is possible. This is in the Total CMS 3 demo file. If you go to the blog post page here, I do have an example of how to load in related blog posts there. Okay. I'm not sure if our demo data is going to have that. Here, I can just copy this and let's paste it over here. Let's see how that works. Oh, here, let's bring in that. We'll bring in this header too. Just so we can kind of see that. Oh, look, I have related blog posts. How am I relating them? By tag. So, yeah, so there are related blog posts. Oh, this particular one. Oh, wait. Let's publish, actually. Oh, wait, here. I was previewing the wrong. Was I? No, I wasn't. Let's go ahead and publish this, and then we'll play with it online. Let's go to blog. Some of these might have. This one has one related post. Okay. If I go back to the blog. So yeah, there you go. There's an example. That one doesn't have any. That one doesn't have any either. So yeah, this is just dummy data. So yeah, if I wanted, I can make sure that the various posts have, actual data that relates them. They're all done by these tags. So, there we go. Okay, I think that was it. I just wanted to do a basic blog for everybody, and I will throw it on my to-do list before I launch to do a simple a blog stack. Okay, a blog post stack that we can add to this page that kind of does just a nice blog post layout page. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. My goal for Total CMS 3 is to be able to build a blog in 60 seconds. Okay. Imagine like how quick this blog post page was. Okay. Now, granted, I didn't tweak any of the settings here. You could, but go from zero blogs to creating a blog in less than 60 seconds. I think that could be possible. Okay. Actually, for fun, let's not do it now. I got a lot of other stuff to do today, but yeah. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions. Is there a related posts area? Can you show a quick related posts list at the bottom? Oh, there we go. Sweet. Very cool. Thanks, bud. Cool. Sweet. Okay. That was a quick blog. Okay, guys. We're going to dive into the weeds now. Okay. I'm glad I did the quick blog stuff, but we got to talk about this huge, ginormous release. Okay. Um, this release was really big. Here, actually, let me go ahead and let's just go ahead and delete everything there. So we have just this release. I guess while we have RapidWeaver open, we'll go into the new stuff that we have for stacks. Okay, and I'm actually just going to close that project out. Let's open up this demo project. All right, new things in the Total CMS stacks. There is a new login form stack. Okay, so what can that be used for? Well, obviously, now Total CMS has a built-in login form, and yeah, it'll automatically redirect to it and all that stuff. Really cool, right? But you can have your own login form as well. So go ahead and you can add this to the page, and you can create your own login form page. Okay, and yeah, it'll log in, right? So I think I have this on my published page already. Yeah. So here, let me go ahead and go to the dashboard link. Okay, so I'm not logged in right now. Now, if I tried to go, I tried to go to the dashboard directly, and when you do that, it'll use the default login page. Okay, but what you would do is you could link to your own, and then inside there, you can actually set up a redirect after a successful login. Okay, so if you want to take them to the admin area, you can do that, or if you want to take them to your own custom admin area, whatever. But this login form will allow you to easily create your own login forms. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and log in right now. So let's just go ahead and log in. I think that's the password. There we go. So I'm logged in, right? So it automatically takes me, I had set this up to automatically take me to the admin page. And there we go. Now I'm logged in. And now that I'm logged in, I can actually go directly to the dashboard because I'm authenticated. And there we go. Okay. Again, we'll come back to the cool new dashboard. And let's go back. So login form stack, super cool. That was actually the last thing I added. I finished that one this morning. So a lot of possibilities there. The default login form, we have some white labeling, which we'll go into a little bit, but the login form stack really gives you a lot of customizability. Okay. So there we go. Access checker. So there's an entirely new access system within Total CMS, and the access checker will allow you to define whether or not someone can access a particular collection and with particular rights. Okay, so let's say this is going to be useful if you're building your own custom admin areas. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm building a blog form and I don't want to show the delete button if the person doesn't have the access to delete blog posts. So what you can do is you could just say, boop. So if I can say if blog and they have delete privileges, then I can put the delete button in there, right? So this just gives you the ability to determine whether or not someone has access to something. And yeah, there you go. So I think this is really going to be the most useful if you're building your own custom admin areas. Okay. And you want to leverage Total CMS's access controls, okay, which we will dive into a little bit, but just to remember that this is there. Improvements to the conditional stack. All right. So there is a stack called conditional, and let's add this to the page. And essentially what I did is I just added a bunch of examples. Okay. Because essentially inside the conditional rule, you have the ability to put whatever twig logic you want in here. But a lot of times people didn't really know what they could do, right? And lazy to go learn twig. I understand. Okay, so I've added 3 levels of examples, level 1, level 2, and level 3, and you can kind of see what is possible. So yeah, you can see how to do a knot, how to do a string comparison, how to check if something is true or false, how to check the number of something, right? If it's defined. And then we have level 2 and level 3 stuff, right? So just again, the functionality of the stack is the same. Hopefully these just allow you to learn how to use it better. Okay. And then lastly, there's this little checkbox to turn the rule on or off if you like to see that in edit mode. Okay. So that's improvements to conditional. Next one is super powerful. And this has to do inside of a custom form. Okay. So if you have a custom form, so you have a custom object, it actually is pertinent on any of them, on any form. Okay. But one thing about the custom form, when you get this update, any existing custom forms that you have, again, this is only if you're building your own custom admin areas. I deprecated the stack, which means if you have the old version, it will say custom form v3.0.40. Okay. All you have to do is drag the new one onto the page and then copy all of the child stacks and just move them into the new stack. It's only the outer shell that has changed. Okay. And what has changed? So before, inside all forms, we could have custom actions, whether or not we create a new item, edit an existing item, or delete an item. And now we have the ability to, just like Foundation 6, you could have multiple actions. We can now have multiple actions, whether or not we are creating new objects, editing, or deleting. So if you didn't know, let's say if I was creating after I create a new object, okay, a new blog post, let's say I want to email somebody. Okay, we'll get into this in a little bit, but essentially in here, you would create an email on the admin side and you would put the ID of that email here. And that's it. Super easy. Okay. But you can do multiple. I can be like, send an email and then after refresh the page. Right. So after I create a new action, we want to send an email and then refresh the page. And what that will do is that we'll kind of make that an edit form because we're now editing an object. And then if you're ever editing a blog post or whatever, you can then have separate actions here. Maybe you don't want an email when you're editing, but you want to, after, I don't know, you want to go back in history for some reason. I don't know. Okay. You can send a webhook. So all kinds of cool stuff. And maybe delete. If someone deletes something, maybe, hey, we want to email someone, say, hey, you deleted this, right? So again, you can do multiple actions depending on what the form is doing. Are you creating a new object, editing an existing one, or updating an existing one, or deleting something? You can have custom actions for each one and as many actions as you want. Pretty cool. Okay, super powerful there. And again, these are options on all the forms. So if you go to blog, you'll notice that we have new, edit, and delete there as well. Okay, so it's not just in custom forms. We have that ability in all of the forms now. Okay, next up is admin core. Okay, so there's before today, there was let's go into I think it's in here. You have admin core. So you remember if you're on your own custom admin page, or if you have any sort of Total CMS forms, you'll have to have the admin core stack on the page. And before this update, there's never been any settings in here, but there is now. And that is because another thing that we have is dark mode for Total CMS. Now, prior to this update, everything was all designed to be on a light website. So I've defaulted to light, but you can have auto, light, and dark. For example, I'll go ahead and set this to auto so you can kind of see what this would do. Now, this particular site is meant to be a light website. Okay, there is no dark mode or light mode. Okay, but all of the Total CMS components are set to be automatic right now because I set that to be. Okay, if I were to go ahead and go to my system preferences, and we do, where is that? Appearance. Okay, so if I set this to be light mode, voila. And if you see the form elements changed. Okay. So that is what the auto does. And that's also why for right now inside edit mode, um, if you have dark mode on your Mac, the form components show up as dark styled. Okay. I'll see if I can get those styles to be forced inside of edit mode, but it's not really a priority right now. Okay. So it's not a big deal. It's only inside edit mode. Again, to control it, you go into here and you can either force dark mode, force light mode, or have the automatic where it would automatically detect. Okay. So for obviously for this site, for this page, I just want to force light mode and now everything looks proper. Okay. Pretty cool. Okay. Oh, as we saw earlier, the image stack sizing options. So inside of, if we go here, inside of the Total CMS image stack, there's now fill container and scale image. Okay. So those just got inherited from the Foundation 6 picture stack. Yeah, so that you can scale your image to a particular size if you need to. Okay. That is different than up here, right? Because this generates the actual image, but then if you want to scale that image, you would do that here. These use CSS, right? These affect the actual size of the generated image. Okay. The last one, oh, there's a new template stack. Okay. Now we haven't talked about the template feature yet, but just so you know, we can go ahead and there is inside, I think I added it to the content. There it is, template. Okay. So we'll be talking about what templates are, but essentially what you can do is you'll be able to include templates with this stack on the page. Okay. So inside Total CMS, you can create templates, and then these allow you to basically import them onto the page. Think of it as kind of like Portal, maybe, or kind of like a partial. Okay, a server-side partial, basically. So I could update that template within the CMS, and then wherever I'm including it throughout my site, it will get updated dynamically. Pretty cool. Okay. Okay, so that is all the updates for the stacks. I'm gonna just go ahead and minimize that so we don't miss anything, because I have, man, a lot to talk about. This update was huge, really, really, really big. All right, so let's go ahead and let's dive into the admin area, and let's go to, we'll stick with this server. Okay, not sure what's in here, but okay. Well, first thing we'll notice, there's a new dashboard. Okay, and it's not totally done yet. This was just my initial thoughts. It will most definitely change over time as I have ideas. I really wanted to get it out the door, so I kind of rushed it. But I think it's, for rushing, it's not too shabby. Okay, it gives us some stats. You don't have my awesome face and video there on the page anymore, but I think that's okay. I think you'll live. It did move to the documentation page. Okay, but yeah, I think this is a pretty decent dashboard that allows us to, some of this information is a little off. Like this says 3.0, it should be like the actual full version. So it's just some information. It tells you how many collections, how many custom collections you have, how many objects there are. As you see, I don't have many in this particular dev site. Okay. Kind of give you a rundown of your collections. You can quickly have add access to all of these straight from the dashboard, right? You can quickly view them. Yeah, just kind of a way of quickly accessing potentially what you want to go to right away. Totally open to feedback here about what we can do. Okay. Recent activity, I'm not really logging that, right? I don't know. This one might not happen because Total CMS doesn't really log that, but maybe it's something I could do. We'll see. But I'm open to feedback here on what we can improve, what you like, what you don't like. Please let me know. Okay? I would definitely want to make this better for everybody. All right. You'll notice there are some new options down here in the menu. Okay. I guess we'll go down this left-hand side first. Oh, and also, as you saw, there is dark mode. Okay. And dark mode can also be controlled. So right now it's set, by default, it's set to auto. So if my OS is in dark mode, this page will be in dark mode, but you can force light mode as well. Okay. So there's this nice little toggle that allows you to define whether or not you want automatic, forced light, or forced dark mode. Okay. And that preference is remembered as you change pages. Okay. It's pretty cool. All right, let's head down this menu. So some new menu items. Obviously, this is collections, schemas, and here is the new one. This is templates. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch servers because one that actually has content in it. This one doesn't. So there we go. All right. So here we'll go into templates. Okay, so in templates, templates support. This is how we can actually white label a lot of things throughout the CMS. Okay, so for example, here I have the ability to white label. I think I showed some of this on Wednesday, so I'm not going to dive in and show an entire login, but or examples because I did this during last week's live stream. But I'll just create one example. Let's say I wanted to customize this logo right up here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy that, and we're just going to create a new template, and I'm going to call it white label. All white labeling stuff has to be in the white label folder, and then we do admin -logo. All right, it has to be named this, and let's go ahead and paste in my code there, and let's save it. Okay, and oh, I don't have an SVG saved in there. My bad. Let's go ahead and go into SVG. Oh, I don't have. That's funny. Let's create a new SVG, and let's call it logo. All right, and do I have an SVG in my clipboard? I have no clue what this SVG is, but let's see. Oh, okay. We're going to save that. And there we go. I have an SVG of a door opener. Okay. So yeah, that was saved with a template. And that template actually I could have pasted the SVG directly in here, but instead what I'm doing is I'm using Twig to actually import the SVG from the CMS. Pretty cool. So that's a differentiating factor where templates, you can actually use Twig within the templates. So super powerful stuff here. Okay. So in this login above, I'm checking whether or not someone's logging into users or an admin, and we can have different messages there. Okay. So yeah, templates, they are HTML. You do have to have HTML and Twig. So you can't, build them with stacks. I guess you could build something with stacks and then copy the HTML and the CSS and whatnot and paste it in there. Would work. But yeah, there's templates. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. The white labeling is super useful. And yeah, they led to another feature that I planned on using. And this is Mailer. Before Mailer, I was planning on having all emails be templates, but it just grew and grew and grew. And here's an email example. So if you notice here, every email that you create has an ID. And if you wanted to have an action that sent an email, this is the ID that you would copy. Okay. So we would go ahead and copy that ID, and that would be the email ID that I paste into the email actions of forms. From a security standpoint, that's great because all the data within your email is stored within the CMS and not on your web pages, right? So people can't really find who the email's to or all that jazz. Okay. So pretty cool stuff there. Now, what's really cool is if you look at the tooltips, a lot of these, it tells you how you can actually support things. Okay. So if you want to inject, let's say the to email, you want to import that from the form. right? So instead of this being my email, it would be data dot to, okay, or to address or whatever. This is the name of the form field. So data dot and then the name of the form field. Okay. And you can add that to all of the fields, except for the from email addresses. Okay. So yeah, by default, you actually don't have to supply these because there's default values in the settings, which we'll get to in a little bit. You do have to have SMTP enabled, and this email will get sent via SMTP. Okay, so we have all of the address information, CC, reply to, all that stuff you're used to. We have a subject, an HTML body, as well as a plain text body. So let's go ahead and here. Actually, I'll test something out here. And if you use my email stacks, this is, if you know, my email stacks produce a body and a plain text version, an HTML and plain text version. You could just create it with my email stacks and paste them into here, and you're good to go. Right? Really cool. So this is, this gives us a lot of power. So let's go ahead, and at the bottom here, you'll notice that I have the ability to test my email. Okay. So if you notice inside the email, I have data.name, and then I had the to address right there. So what I can do is to test that, I can supply a little data here. So we're going to be to address, and then we're going to put in my email, and then name, we're going to place in Joe. Okay. So I have my sample data that, again, this data would be generated by the form, but I'm, as a test, I'm giving you the ability to supply the data that this email will process. So I'm going to go ahead and let's send that test email. And that got sent. Let me go ahead and I'm going to open up my mail client over here. And there we go. Oops, what happened? Oh, interesting. I see it. That's weird. I see the text on in my mail app, but it doesn't show in the preview. That's weird. It says, "Hello, HTML from Joe." That is weird. When I double click on the email, it doesn't open, or it doesn't show here, but I see it inside my mail client. You're just gonna believe me. Sorry, I don't want to. I have a bunch of emails in there right now, so yeah. I'll look into that. That's interesting. But anyway, the test email function is pretty cool. Okay, so it allows you to test. Eventually, I do think having bulk email sending will be pretty awesome. Okay, so that's the email. You can have as many emails as you want. Very powerful. Playground, nothing's changed other than the location. I did move it down. It got demoted a little bit. I just felt it got. I love the playground. I use it all the time, but just felt better down here with like utilities and stuff. Okay. No updates to playground in this update. Okay, utilities. Two huge new utilities here. First one is going to be access groups, and the next one's going to be API keys. All right, so let's talk about access groups. Access groups are going to allow you to customize what a user sees inside the admin area. You can also use it with that access checker stack on your custom admin areas. So let's look at what we can do here. I'm going to just go ahead and create a new access group. So we give this a, I don't know, live stream, right? Just give it an ID. Okay. And you can type in, okay. So you give it a description. And if you look down here, we have 4 different sections of permissions that we can have. The first one is object level permissions. Okay. So what can the person assigned to this group, what can they do with objects? Do we want them to be able to create new ones? Do we want them to be able to see them? Reading is probably a global thing, right? If you can't, you have to, everyone has to see them, right? But if you turn it off, then they have no access. Okay. So if you want to turn off access period to something, you can do that, right? But if you want any level of access, obviously read is something important. Do you want them to be able to update existing ones? Do you want them to be able to delete things? Okay. Now, by default, we have all collections turned on, but if we uncheck that, you can actually limit access on a per collections basis. So if I give create ability on a blog, someone can create blog posts, but they couldn't create emails or galleries or members, right? So you can really give granular access. So if you only want someone to see blog and create posts, this is what you could do. And they won't be able to see any of the other collections at all. Next is the collection metadata. This is if you're in your collection, if you click edit collection, that's what this controls. Do you want the person to be able to update collections? Do you want them to be able to see the information about a collection, right? Do you want them to be able to create new collections? And do you want them to be able to delete collections? I don't necessarily recommend delete or create here. Yeah, especially create, because that actually doesn't make much sense, because if they create a collection, then they won't be able to, admins are the only people that can actually access this particular view. So if someone creates a collection, if they're not in the admin, they won't be able to assign it themselves to it. So there's that. So again, this is data about a collection, not necessarily objects within a collection. Then we have access to schemas. Do you want them able to create schemas? And again, you can limit them to specific schemas if you want. And then lastly, at the bottom, we have other permissions. And these are kind of like catch-all, all or nothing sort of things. Do you want them to be able to see the documentation or not? Do you want them to have access to the mailer, the templates, and the Twig playground? So basically those, just turn those on or off. And then the utilities here, you can actually give them access to all utilities. Now, if you select all utilities, they will get everything except access groups and API keys, because only admins are allowed to see those. But they can see everything else and any future utilities that are added. Okay. But you can uncheck that. And let's say you only wanted to give them access to image batcher, server checker, log analyzer, and cache manager or something like that. Right. That would then limit what they can see, what utilities they have access to here. So it's very granular control. Okay. Now, while we're talking about this, once I create a group, let's go ahead and let's create this access group. How do I assign that access group to a user? Well, what we do is let's go into the user's account. Okay, so if I go into this blogger test user, okay, you'll notice that there's a group setting. That setting's always been there, but now it will automatically display and limit and show you what groups are available. So like I created this live stream group, and voila, this person is now a part of the blogger and the live stream group. So they have permissions for both of those. So you can apply multiple groups or permission access groups to a user. Okay. I don't see any questions yet, so please feel free to ask any questions. Yeah, so pretty simple in terms of assigning it, right? You click here and you'll have access to that. Now, if you, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. Okay. Actually, here, really quick. If you have a custom user collection, I know some of you do, okay, then you're not using the default auth collection. If you have a custom user collection and maybe you've already created one, how do you get this right? How do you get all of the groups to show up? There is a new option, and it's already documented. If we go to access options, no. Hold on 1 second. Oh, here you go. Just set access group options to true. So you would put this in the settings of your custom field. And yeah, there you go. That's how you get that drop down of access groups. Okay. Hey, let's see. This is super powerful. Are there tooltips throughout the help user? Yes. So there should be tooltips. Well, there's little help things. So I did try to, I think this is pretty self-apparent. It's either create, read, update, or delete. And what collections do you want? Okay. So yeah. Next up is API keys. All right. Now, this is definitely what do you need API keys for? If you wanted to integrate an external service into Total CMS, such as Active Pieces or Zapier or some other third-party thing, or your own scripts, you would need to create an API key. You don't need any API keys for stuff that's on your website. Okay, you only need it from external sources. As you list out all the APIs here, let's go ahead and create a new API key. You can say, let's just call this live stream. Okay. You can give it what permissions you want. Now, the level of permissions here are slightly different. There's a couple different options here. So we have put and patch versus, create, read, update, delete. Okay. But this is API jargon. So you can really limit what you can do with an API. So if you only want an API to be able to create stuff but not delete, we have that ability. Okay. Next is all endpoints or specific endpoints. So if you want to limit exactly what APIs you can access. Okay, so APIs essentially gives you access to schemas, although read-only access to schemas via the API. So even if you have create enabled here, schemas can only be read via the API. You cannot create new schemas via the API. Okay. Essentially, you can give an API access to all collections, or you can limit the collections that an API can access. So let's say you only wanted to access your blog posts or products. Okay, you can really limit the ability. So in this case, this API, if I were to save this, we have the ability to here. Let's do read and create posts and products, and then I say create API key. And what happens here is that it shows us what our API key is, and we can click copy to clipboard. And this warning is very important because once you see this, this is the only time you will ever see this API key. Okay. Once you click done, you won't be able to access that API key again. Okay. It's saved. It gives you a little preview of what that API key starts with, but it does not allow you to modify that or create, essentially what you'd have to do is you'd have to delete this API key and create a new one if you wanted to edit or create something different. Okay. That's very common security workflow for API keys. Could I integrate the deep learning API with, I don't know what DeepL is. Oh, I know what it is, but I don't know what their API does or if you can integrate it with Total CMS at this point. I don't know. You could probably do it with something through, it would probably have to be through something like Zapier or Active Pieces or something like that, Matthias. Yeah, to be able to get the content, translate it, and then save the content. So I don't know if DeepL would support that directly. You'd probably have to create something through Active Pieces or Zapier. Then it would be possible. I haven't talked. There are features of, pro, standard, light. API keys are something that is a pro version. Okay, only. Just to let you know. Okay. API keys. API keys and access groups, man, that was a lot of work. Okay. One thing I didn't even show off this page here. I'm really happy with this page actually. Just kind of shows you a grid. You can see the groups, and you can really get an idea of everything that access group has access to. So I really like this view. Nice one. Okay. Last new item in this tree is settings. We had settings before, but now it's been completely redone. Before it was just one simple form. Now it's broken down into several different smaller forms and kind of organized. And we have access to a lot more settings now. Okay. Obviously, something that is important is SMTP. If you want to have the email functionality, you need to have SMTP enabled. Access groups are for any version, not Matthias. Good question. Right, mailer. Again, these are just going to be settings. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these settings. So for mailer, we have the ability to limit, like rate limit things, so we don't potentially send out too many emails in case someone maybe hacked our form or did something, right? So we have some limits to make sure that we hedge our bets that nothing bad is going to happen. So just put some reasonable stuff in there. Okay. ImageWorks. This is again for watermark galleries, watermark fonts, depots, ImageWorks defaults, as well as some presets. Presets are super powerful. Not going to dive into them right now, but really cool stuff. HTML sanitation stuff. Let's see. The accent color within the dashboard. So yeah, you can change that. So various things like checkboxes and various accent colors are configured here. So if you wanted to go ahead and set this to be, let's say like pink. And then let's go to something. We'll see it there. There's that color right there. The tag color here. If I had like a check boxes, again, it's just the little accent color in various places throughout the CMS. Allows you to customize that a little bit. Nice little touch. Cache stuff. Do you want to enable or disable various things? If your host has Redis, you can now supply if it's authentication, you can supply the authentication details there for your Redis setup. Some auth stuff. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Docs. I haven't had the chance to reorganize. I do want to reorganize the docs. There are a lot more docs now. There's some new field settings. Hopefully my release notes goes over some of those. All right, let's see what we got here. What did I miss? Okay, so template management we went over, access controls we went over, new settings. Something big. Okay, this one's another big one. Okay, so if we look at schemas, okay, let me go ahead. I'm gonna dip off. Explain what this feature is. Okay, so right now, actually, here I'll share. Oh, actually, okay. So let's say I wanted to create a new blog. Okay, and that blog, I wanted to add fields to it. Okay, let's say I wanted blog with comments. And what you could do now, especially if you had Pro, okay, is you can go ahead and duplicate this blog schema, and then you can name it whatever you want, maybe like, blog comment, okay? And then you can go ahead and add your new field, right? And then you'd probably set this to be a deck, and you'd say that is a deck, okay? And you would say comments, okay? You close that, right? And now I would have a blog schema that supports commenting. Pretty cool, right? Again, this does require custom schemas, aka Pro. Okay, so but the problem is this blog schema is now completely separated. It's its own thing. I now have to manage it on its own. And I think we could do better. Okay. So instead of going ahead and duplicating that schema and then modifying it to be what we want, I added a new feature. And let's look at this blog pro schema here that I've already created. Okay, now let me save that. So what I've done here is I've created a schema called Blog Pro, and there is a new setting here called Inherit Schemas. And what I've done is I've inherited the blog schema. And then all I did is I added a comments field. And that's it. Because I'm inheriting from blog, if we see down here, all these properties are inherited from blog. So it's as if I added all of those properties here. It now gets all of these. Very powerful, right? So that allows us to, really extend things. And you can inherit multiple schemas. For example, maybe I wanted to add, an email. I wanted to add the email schema to this. So I can go ahead and save that. And if we look down here, this blog pro schema now has comments, ID, everything from blog, and that it now has an email field and it even tells you it gets this email field from the email schema. So it shows you where all those fields come from. You are inheriting them. Okay. So this allows us to be much more efficient with our schemas, I think. This is really high level. Like, this is pretty awesome stuff. I'm really happy when I thought about this the other day. I think it's going to, at least for advanced use cases, is going to be really cool. Another use case that Josh actually came up with that I didn't even think about is it allows you to create little feature type schemas. For example, the blog schema has updated and created fields. Okay. Let's say that's going to be a common workflow that you want for a lot of your schemas or your collections. So what you can do is you can create a schema that has just those two things, and then you can just inherit it in all your schemas. Then all your collections now have that feature. So it's a way of centralizing your logic and in adding them to your collections and schemas. Really super powerful. You don't have to use it, okay? But I definitely think there's a lot of power in this. Okay. I see a bunch of chatter in the chat box. Let's see what's going on. To go from Total CMS version 1 to version 3, I would like to rebuild all of these CMS items on my website, correct? So there is a inside of utilities. Okay. There is a under project setup. Okay. If your website contains Total CMS 1 data, this will show up, and you can just click import Total CMS 1 data, and it will magically import all of your Total CMS 1, all of your blog posts, everything. It will automatically import all of them into Total CMS 3. I won't go into all the demo of that. I've done demos in the past. If we figure out what beta version I released this in, that live stream for that beta has it. And I'll probably do a dedicated video on it in the future. I do need to do a lot of just short form how-to videos for Total CMS 3 on how to do this, how to do that, right? Because I know these live streams are awesome, but we definitely, I've learned that smaller targeted videos are going to be gold. So after release, we'll be working on shorter form videos on how to do various things. Okay. Hopefully that helps you out, Brad. Data can be imported. Yep. Okay. Thanks. Everyone kind of answered that in the chat. Thanks. Okay. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Let's go back to API key management we did. Oh, password reset. Okay. So let's go ahead. Oops, wrong keystroke. Let's go to this instance. Okay. And if you notice in the login form, there is a forgot password link. Okay. And there's also one if we go to oops, here. All right. If I go ahead and log out of that. Oh, all right. So I'm in my login screen. Let's say I forgot my password. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say forgot password. And then you just type in your email. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my email. I'm going to say send reset link. Okay, and something's going on with mail today. All my emails are blank when I open them. What the heck? What's going on today? That is weird. Okay. It's possible I broke something with emails. I might look at that. Let's see. No, I know this email worked yesterday. What is going on here? The bodies of all my emails are like gone. This email's from yesterday when I tested it, and I know it worked for a fact. That is super weird. Very weird. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, so that would send you an email link, which I wanted to show off. What the heck, dude? Well, the email that just sent out 30 seconds ago, I don't know if you can see it. It does show up. It's a nice email, I promise. I do not know what's going on with Mac Mail at the moment. I even quit it and restarted it, and it's still the same. Any email that I open is blank. What the heck? Oh well. There is a nice password reset email that gets sent to you. You can see it there on my phone. Okay, I promise you it works. And then you tap on that link. That link does expire. Yeah, it'll basically take you to a password confirmation page where then you can reset your password. Okay. So anyway, I'm not sure what's going on with why my email is not working. All right. Reboot. Yeah. Super privacy mode. Yeah. Okay. So the password reset thing works really good. The links in the emails do expire. And those expirations actually, I think, are in settings. Oh, I think I hard coded it at 30 minutes. I guess that's a hard coded thing. Yeah. Maybe I can add a setting for that if we want to do, but there we go. Okay. Password reset, mailer we talked about, dark mode we talked about, login forms we talked about. So there is a new macro for a deck form. Okay. I haven't created a stack for it yet. Okay, and it won't be out in this release. But just to let you know, in the future, the code in the CMS exists to create a deck form. Now, what is a deck form? Let's say, for example, this blog schema where I added a commenting system. And you could use deck, which is a field within Total CMS, to create a commenting system. But we would need some sort of form that adds a new item just for the deck. And essentially, that's exactly what a deck form will be. It'll allow us to add things to a deck, okay, without having to have the full, object form. Okay, so there we go. Oh, that actually reminds me about submitting content publicly. Okay, so let's say, for example, I have a member sign up form. That member sign up form is going to add new members to my members collection. Now, that sign up form is open to the public, right? It's on a public facing page. And prior to this update, you could do that without any issue. However, now that we have all these access controls and we need to make sure that things people can't access, they can only access what you've approved, okay? Public facing Total CMS forms are on lockdown, okay? But we can enable it. So let's say in this members area, I want to allow access publicly to this particular collection. So if we go ahead and edit this collection, there is a new area down here called public access. And if I want public access to be able to create, okay, you can add public access to anything. Create makes the most sense. So for sign-up forms, you would create public access that is just create. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So I say that, hey, I can have a form on my website that's public that can access and create new things here in this collection. So that really locks things down, okay, to protect you. And so, yeah, there you go. And you just save that. And at that point on, you can have forms that will create. Again, if you don't have update, it won't update. It'll only create new things. Okay, so very important there. All right, enhancements. We talked about white label support. Joe, I'm not gonna. Here, this is a good one. HCIC image upload support. All right, I will show that off. All right, let's go ahead and let's go to an image collection. And let's go to this guy right here. All right. Oops, that was the wrong window. Let's go to, where is that? Oh, did I trash that image? Or is it on my desktop? Put it in here. Where's the I'm looking for this picture of this dog here, because that's an HCIC file. It is gone. Where'd it go? I think it might be on my desktop. 1 second. Desktop. All right. Well, here, let me go ahead and I do want to show this. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to send an image here, the same exact dog image here. Just airdrop this to my Mac. There we go. Show and finder. Perfect. Okay, so now I have this image. As you see, it's an HEIC file. And for those who don't know, HEIC is like the default image format on iOS now. And prior to this update, if you tried to upload that, it would not work. Okay. Now it does. All right, now the tricky bit here is that browsers actually don't support HEIC files. So when you drag and drop this, you will see this. You won't see the image preview. It's saying, hey, it's an HEIC image file, converting it to JPEG. So Total CMS, it can't produce a preview in the browser because browsers don't support that image format. So what it does is it uploads it, converts it to JPEG, and then when we refresh, then we can see the preview. Now this is the JPEG version that Total CMS created. Okay. But yeah, so now at least if we upload these files, especially if you upload it directly from your phone, which you can do, iOS, depending on your settings, will probably upload an HEIC file. So now this will work. Okay. So that's actually a really nice feature. That was a tricky one. All right. Oh, this is here actually this in Playground. All right. So there is a new, do I have, oh, right here. Nice. All right. So there's a new twig filter called Markdown Inline. And what Markdown Inline does, I'm going to render this, okay? And so we can see the difference. If we look at this, I have, this is bold, okay? And then I pipe it to the Markdown filter. And what that produces is it produces a paragraph that contains this is, and then in bold, it has strong tags, okay? But the thing is that that's important here is that the Markdown will always create paragraph tags when you have just a plain sentence. However, that can be quite annoying sometimes, especially if you want to support some Markdown within, let's say, a header tag. Okay, so let's say, for example, let me update this here. Oops. Okay, see, here's that accent color again. Okay, so now we have there. Let's do H1 up here just so we can kind of see the difference. All right, let's save that. All right, and let's render that again. Okay, so if you look here, this top one, I have H1, and then inside of that, I have this is bold. And because I wanted to use this Markdown to get the bold text, I pipe it to Markdown. And if we look at the output, what that creates is it creates a paragraph inside of an H1, which is not what I wanted. Okay. So if we look at the second example, I can use bold, I can use italic, I can use this code example, and I can even add a link. And then when I pipe it to Markdown inline, okay, what that does is it takes care of all of the accented characters, but it doesn't create that extra paragraph tag. Okay, so that allows us to, this is useful, let's say, if you're doing maybe those multicolored headers, this could be very useful for that, so that you can easily target accented characters to maybe make them a different color, a different font, or whatever, right? So these are different ways that now that we can actually create different styles within something easily using Markdown, okay? But it doesn't add this extra paragraph tag, which in some cases is not going to do what we want. It's going to break it's going to break our styles, and it's probably not great for SEO either. Okay, so yeah, Markdown inline, super powerful. That's documented in the twig filters too, documentation. There is a new API now. I don't have a live example of this. We'll probably create something, maybe a stack or something to help people utilize it better in the future. But it's an API that allows you to increment and decrement a value within an object. Perfect example is, let's say I have a product and I want to easily increment the inventory count or decrement the inventory count. Okay. This API would allow you to really easily do that. Okay. So again, right now, this is only an API level thing. Something you could do with Zapier or Active Pieces as well. But we'll probably create some sort of toggles to, increment a count. Inventory is obviously a really useful item for that, but I don't know, you can have a page viewer, I guess, or something like that, right? So it'll just have a count that you can easily increment and decrement within an object. So that's pretty cool. Oh, so there are 2 new fields, 1 new field. Well, okay. If you noticed inside of these, let's go into this one. Okay. If you notice this form, there was these checkboxes that were multiple of them, right? This form is built with Total CMS. Okay. I use Total CMS to build Total CMS, which is kind of cool. But we didn't have a form that supplied multiple checkboxes. Well, we do now. So there is a new multi-checkbox form field that you can access, and it allows you to store multiple values within the same property. It's essentially the same thing as having like a list. So instead of a list where you can type in items, you just check them. Okay. Here's another example of, this is one field that has multiple checkboxes. So this could be a nice interface to be able to save an array of data rather than a multi-select or a list. Now there's another functionality here. If you notice, when I checked and unchecked this one, it showed and hide this field. So we now have the ability to do that as well. Super powerful. Okay. So let's review those right now. So inside of a schema, we just look at, I'll add one here. Oh, here, I already have one. So here, I have a checks property, and we set this type of data to be list, and we set the form field to be a multi-checkbox. Okay. And that will give us the multi-checkbox field. Let's see if I have any options here. And then essentially you can either use options, and you can also use settings such as relational options and all that stuff that you can do for lists. Okay. So all those settings that you can have for lists, you can also have for multi-checkboxes, or you can just define a static list like I did here. Okay. So yeah, multi-checkboxes, super simple. It's just a new type of field that we have inside of this, inside of here. And as you see, it's under the list arrays field, and it's called multi-checkbox. All right. Now, how do we do that visibility trick? Okay. I'll just show you the documentation for it really quick. We'll just go to field settings. And this is supported in every field. Okay, so field visibility. And so what you would do is you would go in here and you would say visibility. Okay, and you could say what field is visible, or what field you want to watch, essentially. Okay, so let me show an example. Let me show you an example inside the CMS. Let's go to, I think I need to update. I think I modified this since I wrote the docs. So let me go ahead and show you an example. 1 second. That was in the, I'll make sure I update that before I ship this update. It's a simple thing, but I want to show it off while we're here. Darn it. I changed it and then I didn't update the doc. That was my bad. let me search for something really quick. Oh, there we go. All right, so if I go into templates, admin, utils, let's just look at this API keys, new. Okay. And then here we go. So you do something like this. Okay, visibility, you would set a watch parameter and then a value parameter. Okay. So here, in this particular field, here, actually, let's actually look at, this form. I'm sorry, let's go back. I left the page. Okay. Remember how I checked this, okay, and it showed and hid that, right? So let's look at the definition for this particular field. Okay. Now, grant this is all in Twig, so hold your horses a little bit. Here. Okay. So here I have a visibility, and I'm going to say I'm going to watch collections all. Okay. So we have, again, the visibility inside of the specific collections field. I'm going to watch collections all, and the value I'm going to watch for is all, and it's not in. Okay. So essentially, again, I'll have better docs for that. But we're watching this, and if that is not all, because the value of this checkbox is either all or it's nothing. Okay. So if it's not all, then show this. Okay. You can do all kinds of stuff inside this operator. You can actually do logic on math fields or number fields. So you can say like, if this number is, I'll just make a quick change and I'll discard it. So let's say I had a number field. So we're going to watch a number field, and I can do if it is greater than 10. So basically, if this field is greater than 10, then show this field. Pretty cool, right? Or you can do less than, right? So yeah, pretty awesome. That not in stuff was because the checkbox was an array, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, super powerful. Visibility across any form. And this all happens in the dashboard. It can also, it'll port over to your custom forms as well. Pretty exciting stuff there. Man, so much new. Inside of a collection. Okay. Let's go into, let's just go into products for now. Okay. We'll go into sitemap. I think I reviewed this last week a little bit really quick, but you can include and exclude fields or posts based on data here, right? So let's say this is products. I want to, exclude something. Oh, the big thing is like blog posts you want to exclude from draft and whatnot, right? So you can include and exclude stuff from your sitemap based on fields. But not only that, something that I didn't show last week is that is also a possibility now inside RSS feeds. So yeah, with an RSS feed, you can exclude or include data specifically. And you can also limit the number of feed items. Before if you had 1,000 items, it would show you 1,000 in the feed. Now you can actually limit that to a specific number so that it's not, your RSS feed isn't thousands upon thousands if that's how many things you have in your collection. So you can limit that now. Really cool. I won't dive into it now, but if there is also index filter. So this is the syntax that is used for both the sitemap and the RSS. That allows you to add more customization than you can through that form. If you wanted to do, multiple fields, so you can like exclude if property 1 is value and property 2 is a value, right? So you can do a lot of really complex logic via the URL parameters for both sitemap and RSS feeds, as well as drawing a blank. There's one other place I added this. And what's fun is the logic is all exactly the same. Actually, it's the via the API that uses, there's an API that lets you get objects from a collection. And this includes that syntax as well there. So pretty cool stuff. Right now it feels like I just got the fire hose on you for you guys right now. Let's see. Form valid, yeah. Just a bunch of bug fixes for various things. Speed optimizations, yeah, a lot of speed improvements, some form saving stuff. Yeah, a bunch of other bug fixes. I think we've reviewed all of the stuff. I mean, there was one more bit I was gonna do today, and I don't think I can. I've already gone for 2 hours, and I don't think I can go any longer. um, yeah. If I had time, I was gonna go ahead and create a custom email thing, but I think I'm beat after talking for 2 hours straight, guys. So I think I'm gonna call it a day. I will still have to do that this afternoon, but I'll make sure to show it off later on so you guys can see how. And I gotta troubleshoot that email. I mean, part of this was email, and my email has come through blank, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But let me see if there's any other questions I missed. Sweet. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm sorry for the fire hose today, guys. I know beginning I tried to start a little soft and just kind of show you how easy it is to create a blog. And yeah, we talked about this update for a long time, and I didn't even deep dive into it. We just glazed over all of the features. It is huge. So I didn't find any particular bugs. I'll make sure the email thing isn't debugging the CMS. I don't think it is, but I'll make sure it's not. And I'll update the docs. I need to update the docs that I found for that. What was it? The visibility thing. I need to make sure I fix those docs, and then I'll ship that. So within an hour or so, you guys should all have updates with the latest version. And yeah, it's a big one. Hope to see some of you guys tomorrow at the Hangout. We will see you guys there. If not, have a great rest of your week. I appreciate you. Total CMS is really close. Again, my goal is to actually have it give you the ability to purchase licenses within a week. Okay, so I know I'm shipping this today. I'm going to be able to finagle things in the background hopefully without having to push out another update to allow purchases. And you guys within 2 to 3 weeks, you guys should have your licenses in your inboxes. For all of those that have already purchased licenses, you'll get emails with those licenses, and you'll be able to assign those to your installations and all that stuff. So we're getting down to the wire. My goal is from here on out, bug fixes only. There's going to be no new features added until after release, probably a little bit after release, because got to do a lot of documentation and a lot of videos and promotion and all that stuff. So thank you for those that have been beta testing for 2 years now, or less, or thank you for beta testing. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying Total CMS. For those that are new, I know we've done a lot of live streams about all of this, and a lot of it can be overwhelming. I'm sure today a lot of it was overwhelming, but today alone, I mean, we just covered a sliver of what Total CMS 3 can do. The power of this software, it's so big, it does so many things. But as you saw at the beginning of today, doing the simple things can be simple. And hopefully it is. And you can grow with the product, right? So as you grow and as you need more things, just be aware that Total CMS has your back, and chances are the things that you want to do, it's going to be able to do them. So yeah, this is by far the best thing that I've ever made. It's been 3 years of very hard. Well, even more, because the code base for this version we have now started 3 years ago. But there was Total CMS 2 before then, right? So yeah, crazy how this all started from that image editor. Total CMS 3 did, and it kind of spawned from there, and it's grown to be such a bigger product, more amazing than I've ever imagined. This pre-made for you admin dashboard is really awesome, guys. It's really good. I hope you're enjoying it. Oh, talk about enjoying it. This update will have, it's not perfect, but better mobile support for the dashboard. Okay, so yeah, right now, as of right now, the build that you guys have, beta 40, it's unusable on a phone. It's usable. You'll be able to at least get around and edit some things. There's a lot to it, right? So I did the minimal amount of work that I could just to at least get things working, okay, on mobile, so that if you had to in a pinch, you could get to the information and save the data that you want. So yeah, and as you saw last week, Josh says it's a game changer in the chat. He built some amazing, he is building some amazing things. As you saw last week, if you didn't check out last week's live stream, you can see all the awesome stuff that he's building. But it's not just Josh. I mean, so many people. Davide is making some amazing stuff. Bill Burden, Ben, I forget your last name, Ben, but he's doing this amazing Filipino comic website that's powered by Total CMS 3, and it's really awesome. Like, cool stuff. Really great job. And he's really, leveraging the power of what Total CMS 3 can do. So anyway, I'll stop blabbing. I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your week. Hopefully we'll see some of you tomorrow at the